If you're going to win big as a real estate agent moving forward, there's no debate. You're going to have to build a personal brand on social media. And I can't think of anyone better. Our guest today has one of the best and the biggest personal brands on all social media platforms. With us today, we have the one, the only Evan Carmichael. Evan, welcome to the show, my friend.
Thanks for having me, man. Good to be here. I'm excited. We got some stuff to dive into.
Yes, we do. So let's jump right into the value. So before we jump into too much, can you give people a high level understanding of content marketing? Because here's why, real quick. Real estate agents they understand prospecting and they understand paid advertising. What they don't understand, Evan, is how to monetize a content strategy that turns that into business. So can you give us a high level understanding of what that looks like?
Yeah. The idea is you're creating content to educate. So we're not just selling, but we're trying to educate. And in the process of educating somebody, you think about what a personal brand is. A personal brand is just an emotion. It's like, what do people feel about you? First, they have to know who you are. And that's part of the game. I mean, you're doing Google ads, Facebook ads, bus stop ads, flyers, anything to get your name out. You want to be seen. But there's still a difference between being seen and being known. It's like, I see that guy's face. I recognize him. But so what? What are you known for? Everybody's the top 1%
right.
seller, right? Like, what are you known for? And this is the challenge when everybody's selling the same product, right? Your product's the same. The service level can be different. The experience can be very different, but you're selling basically the same product as everybody else. So this is real estate agents. This is financial advisors. This is,
right.
When you have the same product, it's then the person that stands out. It's your unique level of caring, as well as strategies that you can bring that make you stand out. So how do I know that? That's really hard to get across in just an advertisement. How you do it is by building the personal brand so that then people come and find you. And it doesn't mean you stop the advertising, right? Hey, if it works, keep doing it. Awesome. But going forward, especially, people want to feel like they know, they like, and they trust the real estate agent that they're working with. And you do that by creating content.
Love it. I love it. So just to kind of go a little bit deeper. So a real estate agent watching this or listening to this on the podcast understands picking up the phone and calling a prospect and setting a listing appointment. They get that. They get, hey, I'm going to run Facebook ads around this new listing and I'm going to try to find a buyer. What they don't understand, Evan, is, okay, I get it, Evan. I'm going to make video content. How do I turn that into leads and to clients? They don't understand potentially a lead magnet or how to turn the content into business the way that you have. You don't have to go super deep, but I'm curious, can you just give us a little bit more from a tactical perspective of what that could look like? Yeah.
Let me give you my number one strategy for real estate agents. What I would do if I was a real estate agent right now, how I would market myself using social media. YouTube actually would not be the game for me. And I'm the guy who's got almost 3 million subscribers on YouTube, depending on when this video goes out. Maybe we passed it already. Because your YouTube, you're thinking the world, or at least America.
Right.
So for Brandon, it's great because he can help any real estate agent in any city, help them close. It doesn't matter to him. He'll
That's
help
right.
you close if you're in Utah or California. It doesn't matter.
Yep.
Most real estate agents don't have a product that can sell to America.
Great point.
You're not even selling to your state. You're not even selling to your city. You're selling to like the community inside the city, depending on how big the city is.
Yeah.
But in the big cities, you're not selling all of New York.
That's a great point.
You're selling a micro niche community. You're the guy for these streets. Right? This borough is your area, right?
Yeah.
So YouTube doesn't work as well from an organic side. From a paid side, sure. But from an organic side, it's not going to be as great a plan for you because America is going to see your content. Now, if you have bigger ambitions and you want to then teach America how to do real estate, or you're going to launch your investment products, think of someone like Grant Cardone, who's raising all sorts of money for his investment projects, right? Then America needs to know you. And then YouTube needs to be the number one strategy. But if you're targeting a micro niche inside a city, then YouTube's not going to be your best bet. Okay, great. I thought I was going to come and learn tactics here. Let me go specific and deep and tell you exactly what to do.
Love it.
I would start a podcast and or a Facebook show for my community. So if I'm here in Toronto, Canada, I look at the real estate agents around me. We have a community called North York, or a community called Willowdale, right? It's like general sections of the city, because no real estate agent does the whole city of Toronto with, 4 million people or whatever. So what I would do is, for that section, if I'm going to be the North York guy, I would make a podcast for North York people. And what I would do is go interview all the local North York businesses. And you ask them if they want to be on your podcast to help showcase what they're doing.
Love it.
You become the guy or the woman for your community. And you're going out and you're doing interviews. A lot of these businesses have never been interviewed before, period. Right. Like this might be the first time they're ever getting any kind of media exposure.
Yeah.
So you're media now. Because real estate is really just about relationship building.
That's right.
That's it. You're looking for an excuse to build a relationship. And you could cold call people, which works, and you could advertise, which works. And if you added a podcast in where you're interviewing people, you're going to build a relationship with this person. So now when they need to, it works. I mean, if you're a commercial real estate agent, it's bonkers, crazy, amazing. But even residential, which is most, when this entrepreneur here is looking to sell their home, who are they going to talk to? Who are they going to say? Who are they going to, of course, you. When they're thinking about referring you, because how often do people buy a home?
Every 7 years.
Every 7 years, like whatever it is. But it's not like they're coming back next month and they're buying another home from you.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
So we need referrals.
Yep.
So how do we, the biggest part of referrals is just staying top of mind. How do you stay top of mind? They might have loved you, but they got so much other stuff that's happening in their life right now. They're just not thinking about you.
Yep.
And so that's where the magnets come in and the calendars and the pens, and just like, hopefully you're somewhere in their home that they remember you and call you. But if you are actually giving them value to the thing that they care most about, which is their business, if you're targeting entrepreneurs, you're going to be way more top of mind, way more often, in a much more emotional level than giving somebody a magnet to stick on their fridge.
That's exactly right. And you talk about top of mind awareness. First off, you're hitting it on the head, right? So top of mind awareness is the goal of every real estate agent with the people in their database. And yeah, you could go and spend money sending them information, or you can make video content that's valuable where their eyeballs are at, which is on their phone, and win. And oh, by the way, it's free. So you'd interview local business owners, start to get the eyeballs, start to get the attention. The podcast, go ahead.
Yeah. So I don't even care if you do video at the start.
Okay.
And listen, I'm the video guy. I'm all in for video, but I also want people to take action and get started. And a lot of times video can be intimidating. Yep. What I would love for people to do is buy a microphone. Brandon's microphone is actually perfect. He's using the Blue Yeti.
Yeah.
That's perfect. That can plug into any laptop and you can start recording. You don't even have to do a video. And you record the podcast. I don't even care if people listen to your podcast. It's not about that. Yeah. It's about having an excuse to talk to somebody in your community. Okay. You're going to share their story. And listen, interviewing people is pretty easy. Right. An entrepreneur. Why did you start this business? How long have you been here? What are some of your favorite stories? It's like you're already 20 minutes into the interview after those 3 questions, right? So it doesn't have to be some crazy, you have to be the next Larry King to crush it with these guys. Yeah. When you're calling people, that's a much easier ask. Right. And so that's what I was just going to ask you. So how would you approach these business owners to get them to agree? Because let's face it, most small business owners, they don't understand content. They don't understand podcasting. They're like, what do you mean? You want to interview me for what? How would you approach that? So if I'm Evan Carmichael, the real estate agent, and I'm starting my show and I cater to the North York community, micro niche inside Toronto, I'm calling people and saying, hey, it's Evan Carmichael. I am a real estate agent, and I'm the host of the North York Business Talk Show, where I interview entrepreneurs in North York about their experience. I love what you're doing. I see all these crazy reviews about you on Google and Yelp. I love to come in and for half an hour interview you about your business and your story to share it with my audience.
Whoever knew Evan Carmichael was the king of cold calling? Look at that great script.
Download it, use it, apply it, right? I mean, like that, but that's so easy. Who's going to say no to that? An entrepreneur who's trying to get business.
Yeah.
And why I would go podcast first is because the numbers, you can hide the numbers. You don't see the downloads. You don't know how many people listen to the episode. Where if YouTube, you go there, they're going to be 50 views on your video. People may not want to be on as much. Now you can use ad spend against that to boost up numbers anywhere. But I would say Facebook next before YouTube, because Facebook ads are cheaper to get views than going to YouTube. And you can also better target. Like you could target, if I did that interview with the entrepreneur, I could target other North York people who are entrepreneurs who are in the age range of 35 to 60 and show them this video.
Yeah.
So it's mixing what you already know, which is advertising, and just doing it in a smarter way, because when you layer content with your advertising instead of just selling, you perform way better. And this is for anybody. Again, we're talking real estate agents in a local market. If you want to blow up and change America, let's talk YouTube. But this is how you do it. So I would love it to be a video podcast. Right. You take the video and put it to Facebook. Video adds another element of complexity, which then people have more resistance to. Not your guests, you. Right. You don't want to do video because you don't know what camera to have, and you don't know how to set up. You don't know who you have to bring on to help you. And there's just a lot more layers of complexity. This is why you're so great with you have a script and a phone call.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. That's right.
Like there's no complexity. You don't need to buy some fancy gear. Do you have a phone? Yeah. Can you get this script book that I've got? Great. You're in business, right? That's right. Yeah. So that's where podcast is much easier. Even though I'm the video guy, I would buy a microphone. That's all you need. Like that Blue Yeti. Why the Blue Yeti is so great is it plugs in any computer, but also it can pick the voices from both sides of the microphone. So the microphone I'm using here is only one way, where that one has a dial, and on the setting, you can have it pick up from both sides. So if you're sitting across the table from somebody, it could pick both of you up pretty cleanly. That's right. Then all you have to do is show up with the micro, and it looks professional. That's like a $90 mic or something. It's not going to put you out of business to buy a Blue Yeti microphone. And then you show up with your laptop, and then you start recording. And the whole point of it is just biz dev. Right. It's to get to know this person, to have them love you. And then at the end, what you say is, hey, are there any other entrepreneurs you know who you think would be a good fit for my show? It's great. And then you go and you book them on your show. Yeah. Right? I love it. In the course of that, like you're not trying to hide the fact that you're a real estate agent. I'm a real estate agent who has this show called North York Entrepreneurs. Right? So it's up in front. And then what's going to happen is if you've asked them all these questions and they've just gushed their story, they're going to ask you, well, why do you do what you do? How did you get into real estate? And now you get a chance to tell your story. Like this is personal relationships, business development. You're going to get all their friends to be on the show as well. And again, with the exact community that you want to be targeting. Then if you have, again, some kind of video capability, and that becomes a Facebook video, but it could also just be an audio Facebook that you turn into an audio. Like you have just a clip, like a picture as the video, picture of you and them, or picture just of them. And then you run that video ad against all the people who you're trying to target in your community. So let me
unpack some of that really quick. So this is what I talk to my students about with a strategy like that. Because the question I always get is like, okay, I got it, but they're not really getting it. So let me kind of walk you through, I guess, my perspective, and I want your feedback on it. Yeah. So the game here is you go grab the local restaurant owner that everybody knows, just like to your point, right? So they take Evan's Carmichael's advice, they start the podcast. Hopefully it's a video podcast. They go shoot this podcast at the local restaurant that every single person knows exactly what restaurant that is. So just like, here's a great example for everybody watching, just like I'm doing with Evan, because I'm hoping to pick up on Evan's audience, you're going to do the same thing with the local restaurant's audience. So they say, okay, whoa, the owner of the popular restaurant downtown just did an interview. I want to watch that. These are new eyeballs of people you don't know as a realtor now watching you. Just to your point, Evan, you talk about you being a real estate agent. You're starting to build this awareness and a new audience. Would you agree?
Yeah.
That's
absolutely.
what we're talking about here.
And what I want is I want that restaurant owner to talk about me.
Yeah.
What other real estate agent came in and gave any kind of value to him in his entire life?
Yeah.
Nobody. I mean,
Nobody.
That's a great thing. It's like, it's pretty low bar, unfortunately, right? Like if you think about what is the current perception of real estate agents, it's not going to be overwhelmingly positive. Like, oh my God,
right.
My real estate agent is just amazing. So that's great. It's a pretty low bar, especially in smaller cities. You could easily stand out. You're the only one who's ever brought them. Like my real estate agent here, way back when I first got my first condo, and I was renting the condo because I wasn't sure if I liked condo lifestyle or not. So we started by renting, and my freezer was leaking. I didn't know why.
Yeah.
And so I messaged Mark, my real estate agent, and I said, Mark, my freezer's leaking. What? I'm the least handy person alive. I don't know what's wrong with it. I said, do I talk to my landlord? He's like, you know what? You don't want to bug your landlord on something like this. You know, if place is burning down or something big, you just want to have a good relationship with your landlord. Let me come over. I'll take a look. So he came over and fixed it and showed me what to do if it ever happened again. I've been with Mark ever since.
That's right.
Ever since, like that one 15-minute trip to come over to my place to fix my freezer. Now I'm with him for everything.
And you're talking about Mark on this show.
Here we are. Mark Oulahan in Toronto, Canada. He's amazing.
There we go.
Right?
See that?
And so that's the process. Now, if Mark did something to help my business, right?
Yeah.
If Mark wanted me on his show when I was first starting up, right? You just are the one that everybody talks about, and you want the people in your community talking about how great you are and how much you care about the community.
Yeah. So that's a really good point, because there's a lot of influencers in the real estate space that try to convince realtors to, YouTube. They're trying to sell them courses and stuff. But I would agree with you, the local niche market, there's not a lot of traffic on YouTube, so to your point, I love the podcast and Facebook because it's so hyper targeted. And then once you have the video content, to grow the audience, would you promote the video through some Facebook ads? Because video ads are so cheap on Facebook, or walk us through that to kind of expand your reach.
Yeah. Cheap. Well, so first off, recognize that even if nobody sees the video, it's still value because of the relationship you built. This is a biz dev thing. This is not just, I'm going to put stuff up and I hope somebody notices me and they sometimes buy from me, right? Like this is flat out biz dev.
Yeah.
More effective biz dev because you're actually leading with value instead of just trying to sell them something, right? You're giving them something that they care about. They may not be ready to sell their home right now, but they definitely need business help and promotion right now. There's no entrepreneur who's not in need of marketing support right now.
Well, and that's the thing, right? So agents, real estate agents, they have no problem, Evan, giving Zillow $5,000 a month because they want now business. They want instant gratification. And what they don't understand about content is the longevity of that work, because they say, okay, well, Evan, I'm going to go shoot the interview with the local business owner. But I don't get to sell a house from that today. So then they deem it not valuable. Can you help change the mindset of understanding content creation holistically?
You don't even have to understand content creation. You just have to understand relationships. Like if that's your mindset, you don't know how to be a great real estate agent.
Yeah, great point.
It's a relationship business.
Yeah.
That's like, you just don't understand the market that you're in.
Yeah. Great point.
So I'm helping you build relationships. I'm biz deving you into great relationships.
Yeah.
Right now, that alone is value. Just having a conversation, telling their story, and them feeling like, holy cow, this real estate agent actually cares about me, is already going to get you more sales than everybody else. And that's just a super quick investment of time by calling somebody up and then doing a 20-minute show with them. Right.
Yeah, that's great.
And a show, again, doesn't have to be fancy. Don't think like CNN. It's you showing up with your laptop and a Blue Yeti microphone.
Yeah.
And you go to their office. You don't need to have a studio. You just have to figure out how to press record on your computer. That's it. You got a show, right? That's your show.
It's great.
If you want to level it up, then you layer the advertising on top of it. You go to Facebook, you pick your target. I like working with 35 to 60-year-old men who are in this geographic area. That's my audience. Great. You then show them the content. And again, it's I'm Evan Carmack. I'm the real estate agent who loves my community of North York so much that I'm making this show to try to profile what we're doing and how great North York is.
And you're going to grab all the attention because what you said, I mean, no other agents are making content. They don't understand it. And so you've got a great opportunity. That might be different 10 years from now. But, that's why I wanted to do this show with you, is to help realtors understand the value of content. So one of the things I talk to my students about is doing the Facebook Live show one night a week. But the pushback I get is this overwhelming, and you touched on it earlier, this overwhelming fear of the camera. You are the video guy. You have made such a great name for yourself, and I'm sure a business out of it as well, making videos. And so can you help us, coach us through how to overcome the fear of making videos and getting on camera?
Well, one, expect to suck at the beginning.
Love it.
I think that's a big hurdle at the beginning. Like you might see Brandon here doing it, or you might see me, or you might see whoever. You see Grant Cardone or whoever is the guy, the girl that you love so much. And then you think, okay, it's going to be hard, but I could do, I don't know, if I'm like 80% Grant, then I'm good with that. And then you get in front of the camera, you press record, and you realize, wow, you suck. Like you just blank out. Deer in the headlights, like totally forget what you're going to say. For the audio listener, I just kind of leaned in and opened my eyes and kind of paused for a second, because that's what happens. You just it's a skill like anything else that you need to learn and practice and develop. But the problem is we expect to be better than we are, because you're a great salesperson, because you know how to talk to people, because you've been in front of people before. You shouldn't have this, like in our heads, I shouldn't have this problem. I should be great. I'm a great presenter. I'm a closer.
Yeah.
I'm great on the phone. And then you press record and you watch yourself back, and it's just way worse than you ever thought your worst case scenario would be.
That's right.
That's the problem. So you just expect to suck.
Yeah. And embrace it. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, embrace it. Embrace the suck. Keep going. Yeah. If you're doing it by yourself, I think it's harder than, I think the podcast is super easy to do because you have somebody to bounce with. You're barely talking in the show. You're asking questions. Why did you start this business?
Yeah.
And then they're going to tell you their story. And I'd also expand it beyond entrepreneurs. Like, why don't you go interview the school counselor? Why don't you go interview the local judge?
Love it.
Go interview not the politician who's representing you on the state level. That's too big. We're not thinking that. It's hyper niche local.
Yeah, it's so good.
The politician who's running for, I don't know what the elections are like in kind of US versus Canada, but we have school board trustees.
Yeah.
Nobody talks to those people.
I mean, this is, you guys and girls. When I say guys, I mean men and women. This is like gold. I mean, and here's the thing, information without implementation has no value. So you guys have to execute on what Evan is saying to actually bring the value to your community. And so, overcoming the fear of video, the reality is the learning is in the doing, just like anything else in life. And Evan, I love that you say, I mean, they're not going to be very good in the beginning. I tell everybody, go back and watch my first video on YouTube. You will laugh. It's awful. It's terrible. So let's kind of transition into maybe a little bit of, nerding out when it comes to marketing and lead magnets for a second, because this is another piece realtors don't understand fully, Evan. They understand paying Zillow for a lead, paying realtor.com for a lead. They get that. Mm-hmm. They understand running Facebook ads. They get that. But when you talk about lead magnets with leading with value, giving away things for free to generate a lead or to build their list, it's like foreign to them. Can you kind of walk through that? Maybe give us some ideas. If you were a realtor and you were making content, what your call to action would be, and then typically how would you build your database from the content?
So it starts with you figuring out who is your ideal market that you're talking to. What's unique about them? On the other side, so before I moved into the condo, I had a 5,000 square foot custom modern home that I built. And it was just too much house. But it was beautiful and modern and upscale and featured in magazines and all that kind of stuff, right? Featured in commercials and films and stuff. And so when I was looking to sell it, like, I want somebody who knows how to sell modern homes. Like the guy who's just posting his face on a bus stop, I don't know that he can sell what I'm selling. And so what do? I go to Google and I look up Toronto modern home real estate, and there was one guy who popped up who had a download of how to understand how to value a modern home. Because I'm thinking my home's worth more than the guy next to me.
Yeah, right.
I mean, you see these finishes, you see the style. I've been featured in magazines. You're going to say 5,000 square foot in my house is the same as the 5,000 square foot next. I don't think so, right? It's like, but I want the guy who feels the same way. So how do I know what my house is worth? I know how much I bought the land for. I know how much it cost me to destroy what was there and then to build up, but I don't know how much this thing is worth. And so he had a guide on how to value a modern home in my city, not in like California, in Toronto.
Right.
Because that's who he's selling to. And so I found that guy and I went through the thing. I like this guy. And then that's the guy who I'm going to go with to sell my house. So we're trying to think, what are the questions that people will ask? And so he's the guy who does modern homes in Toronto, right? Yeah. You might be the guy who does something else. What's your niche? You're not trying to target everybody. That's a recipe to failure. So who's your target niche and what are their common questions?
That's great.
And then you put it together, and those could be a series of videos too. Like it doesn't have to be just a PDF download. It could be watch these 8 videos on XYZ.
That's great. So as an example, and I want to get your coaching on this. So one niche might be, if you're a real estate agent, is focusing on people, unfortunately, that are going through a divorce. As an example, the real estate, the marital asset, there's a lot of things there that have to happen and a lot of questions. And so I guess, Evan, what you're suggesting is maybe a real estate agent watching this makes video content around hey, the top 3 things you need to look out for if you're getting a divorce as it relates to your home. And then maybe a call to action at the end could be, make sure you download my list on how to protect yourself from your spouse as you're going through the divorce process, right? That's kind of what you're talking about. All of it's free, by the way. Making the content was free. The video was hopefully valuable, so the audience got value. The giveaway or the lead magnet was free. And this is all coming from a place of contribution. And I think that's what you're suggesting. Is that right?
Absolutely. And if you're going to spend ad dollars on it, I'd much rather you go to Facebook again, and then you pick people whose relationship status is it's complicated.
Yeah.
Because you don't want the people who are already divorced, right? It's like,
right.
Okay, we're heading this way. And these are the people who have the questions and they don't know what to do next. And you have the answers if that's your niche. And again, the people who will see it are inside your market, right? They are in your city, in your age demo. Yeah, absolutely. Like I think the point of this isn't to say everything you're doing sucks, because it's a great start, but adding content as a layer to build trust and credibility in relationships might ultimately become the whole thing. Like if you go and you interview that school counselor who's running for position, how many people have interviewed him or her? Like nobody.
Yeah.
Great. So now you interview her as she's running for election. What do you think she's going to do once the interview comes out?
Promote it.
To who?
Right. Everyone.
Like everyone in the market.
That's right.
right? She's not going to promote it to the Blast America. She's going to promote it to her constituents.
Yeah,
I just did this great interview with Brandon where we talk about how we do this. Brandon's this local real estate agent, and he asked me why I was running for school counselor, and I told him my story. It's 25 minutes. You should go check it out on his Facebook or on his podcast, and they're going to give the link. Now, everybody in her constituency is going to go and watch your thing. And now they get to know you as well. Who's this real estate agent guy who cares so much about the schools here in our community of North York, right?
Yeah, that's great. It's great. Cool. All right. So just curious, what your thoughts are on potentially how an agent could use Clubhouse, new platform for all of you that are not familiar with it. It's a great way to connect on a deeper level. My thoughts, Evan, on this was if an agent does a live Facebook show, they could also go live on Clubhouse at the same time to bring that audience in from an audio perspective. But as you think about this as a realtor, how might you leverage a Clubhouse to build the audience?
I wouldn't dual stream, because if you are not engaging with the audience, they're going to bounce. So if you're going to do it, then it's a Clubhouse stream that you're also happen to be Facebooking, not the other way around. Because so Clubhouse, if you guys don't know what Clubhouse is, it's a new app. It's on iPhone only for now. And think of it as lots of different talk radio shows that people are just starting up on their own. And anybody can join in. And it's really a skill to be a host. The game is really bringing people who are listening, who have something to share, bringing them as part of your show. And hosting a Clubhouse stream is much more about you being the host than about you being the expert. The challenge with Clubhouse, so it's a great opportunity in that it's fantastic awareness. The challenge with it is it's not hyper targeted.
Oh, right.
So that's a great America strategy.
Got it.
If I'm Evan Carmichael, real estate agent in North York, Toronto, Ontario, Canada, it's probably not going to do that much for me. But if you have some kind of ambition to be a bigger name, then yes, that could be great. I would. There's YouTube and Clubhouse as the two big platforms that I would look at, just depending on what your skill set is. If you love audio, Clubhouse is great. If you love video, YouTube is where you want to be. But again, we're thinking this is going
hyper local
America,
or America. Yeah. And the hyper local. Yeah, I would agree with you. I mean, right now, I think all the eyeballs are on Instagram, and there's so many tactics there to go hyper local. Let's talk about that a little bit, and then a couple things before we wrap up.
Yeah. So if you're an Instagram strategy would be one, I call this the fast pass to freedom. Okay? Like the fast pass to get the freedom that you're after. I want you to post 10 pieces of content on your Instagram and then stop posting content. And the 10 pieces of content need to be emotional pieces of like why you started as a real estate agent, the struggles that you went through. Like I need to be connected to you, but also know that you're a real estate agent. It's that balance. It's not just like hire me because I'm the best and I'm the top 1% in the state or whatever, right?
Right.
So your story. I need you to have a really good picture. And most real estate agents do a good job of this. You have your smiling, ready to go picture.
Yeah.
And then a bio. And every platform will give you that. You have an avatar, you have a bio, and then you have content. So Instagram, you have a couple lines to write a bio. And I want you to have your lead magnet in the bio to learn more of how to X.
Sure.
Right? Here's my free video series or my free PDF, because that will convert better to get them on your email list than to say, call me if you want to sell your home.
That's exactly right. Yep.
Because they may not be in the right timing, but now if they're on your email list and you're sending them value every week, some of those people on that list are now ready to sell their home.
It's great.
And you're the person who's been sending them the value.
Yeah.
But that makes it easier. In all of the strategies, I'm trying to make your life easier and then give you more homework. So it's like, I don't need you posting 3 times a day on Instagram. Because again, Instagram is like YouTube. Instagram is America. That's not who you're trying to target. It doesn't matter if you have 100,000 followers. If you're trying to sell, it would be hard for me, Evan Carmichael, with 3 million YouTube subscribers almost, to become a North York real estate agent in Toronto, Ontario, Canada.
Absolutely. Right.
Because I'm known around the world, but I'm not hyper known anywhere.
Yeah.
And that's the problem. I want you to be hyper known in your market as like the go-to person. So Instagram, you have your face, you have your bio with the lead magnet and 10 pieces of content, and that's it. Then what I want you to do is look when you go to the search and then pick your location, and you're seeing what people are posting. And you're looking for people who are ideally in your target demo.
Sure.
And then you're leaving comments. And I would likely avoid the big ones. Like if I look at who's posting in Toronto, my maybe Drake posts something here, or Kevin O'Leary or whoever, and it just gets flooded with tons of comments. I'm not going to stand out. I'm picking the entrepreneurs who are posting. I'm picking the stay-at-home moms who are posting, right? And stay-at-home mom goes and takes a picture of the leaves falling in the fall and posts it to Instagram. It's like, I love these fall colors. And 4 people like it and 1 person comments. You can be the second person to comment to say, those colors are gorgeous. Is that James Park? Because it looks familiar. I can't wait to take my family there. And then what's that mom going to do? She's going to see the comment. She's going to say, who is this person who just left this awesome comment? They're going to go check out your profile. What's on your profile? You've got 10 pieces of awesome content that tell me your story, and you've got the lead magnet. So I want you to stop posting content, and I want you to start biz deving and leaving comments.
Yeah, it's great.
But the biz dev is in the relationship biz dev, not in the, hey, what a great picture. By the way, if you want to sell your home, I'm here.
I know, that's the thing. Yeah, you're right. So I'm curious, you've done so much to build your personal brand. You've put in so much work for so many years. You posted something on your Instagram the other day that I loved. You guys should all go follow Evan on Instagram and on his YouTube channel. And it talked about your growth on YouTube and how long it took you, like your first year, how did you keep grinding through that? Because you have 3 million subs, or almost 3 million subs on YouTube. You're growing everywhere, but you just didn't come out of the gate and you were like this overnight success, were you? Like, walk us through the mindset you had to keep pushing forward, because this relates into everything that we do, that when we don't get results right away, automatically we all want to quit. So how did you keep pushing through?
So it took me 5 years to go from 0 subscribers to 7,000 subscribers.
Wow. 5
years. And then it took me another 5 years to go from 7,000 to 2 million. And there's a lot of stuff that happened, over a decade. And I've been on since April 2009. So it's been a minute, since we've been on. And one was definitely just waking up and doing more videos, just getting up and just keep going and just keep grinding and just keep making it. But the thing I think that helped the most was I always focused on who I had instead of who I didn't have. The fact that I had 3 comments on that video, I was just focused on the 3 people who left a comment on the video, and not, man, how come Brandon has 100 comments? There's always more, which is great. Because no matter how good you are, there's always somebody better. You hit number 1 in the state. Now you want to be number 1 in America. There's always, and that's great. We want to grow. We want to get better. But, and I have that ambition too, right? I want to have 10 million subscribers.
Right.
But the path to get there is actually by focusing on, the almost 3 that I have. So it's always been about who I do have. So I think if you had 100 people watch your video, you might think that's a total failure. Oh man, only 100 people saw my video. But if you were going to give a speech at a local library or something and 100 people showed up, you'd be freaking out. Like 100 people are here. This is great.
Right. Love it.
It's still 100 people.
Yeah.
Right. It's just the perspective. And especially in what we're talking about in this video or this interview of hyper local, Evan Carmichael would struggle at the start as a real estate agent, despite everything I've done, because I'm not known enough in my city. Like there's a lot of Toronto real estate agents who are better known than me in Toronto because of the history and reputation that they've built up. I'd have to start to build it. Now I can get there probably faster than what they did using the tactics that this is exactly what I would do. I'm sharing the tactics. So a hyper local view is worth 1,000 America views.
So true.
Right?
Yeah.
If you get 150 people to listen to your podcast or watch your Facebook video, and they're all in your community, you're selling homes.
That's great. And I think to your point, I think we've got to stop, comparing ourselves to people that have national audiences, because it's so easy to do. Because you're right. I mean, you make some piece of content and, you get 10 local people to engage, and you look at that as a failure. It's like, wait a minute, that's exactly what you wanted to do. Evan Carmichael is getting millions of views. Those people are in Japan or China or wherever people watch you. That's kind of what you're saying. Is that right?
Yeah. So let's go back to the interviewing the local business.
Yeah.
One thing that you can do in the pre-interview, just to kind of set the stage, is ask them, hey, is there anything that you really want to get attention and promotion and exposure for? Is it a new menu item? Is there a new thing that you're launching? Anything I know, because I want to help you. I want to help your message get out there. Often even what ends up happening with my shows is the entrepreneur sends it to their mailing list.
Right. That's so good.
So is there anything that I can put or ask you the right question that I can help you get your story out? So it's not you just talking about it, but it's been prompted. So it feels a lot more natural. And then what ends up happening a lot of times is that people would then, again, you make them look so good. They want to share it. The local restaurant shares it with their email list to say, look at this interview we just did. And we've got this new announcement at the end of the video, go watch it. Or at the end of the podcast, go watch it. Right? The restaurant's email list might be 800 people.
So good.
And that's not anywhere, like in my world, that's zero. But in your world, that's 800 people who bought from that local restaurant, right? At least half of them are probably in your target market. That's gold for you. Like, you're selling homes. You're going to sell a home from that episode. Absolutely.
Last question. You start your business all over again. Evan Carmichael, 15 years ago, you have no followers, and you start your business from scratch. What's one thing you would do different knowing what you know now?
I just ask for help more. I still kind of suck at asking for help.
Wow, that's great advice.
But I've learned to embrace it and get better at it. Even, when we talked earlier this week, you said something super kind to me. And said, hey, I'll send you the recording of that video, and you can use that on your testimonials and everything else. And I thought, okay, that'd be pretty cool. So I followed up, I think today or yesterday, and said, hey, was this what you said? And he said, yeah, use it. And Evan from, when did I first start my business? I'm 40 now. Evan from 19 is when I had my first company. Would have never done even something like that.
Wow.
Afraid to ask for help. Try to do anything myself. Afraid to even show that I'm struggling. Trying to always make it look like I've got it all figured out. And I get that you don't want your brand to be, here I am, the struggling real estate agent doesn't know what he's doing. but even like behind the scenes to my friends and to people who could help me, when $25 was too much to go, for a night of, pizza and beer or something, I would tell my friends, I'm too busy. I'm living the entrepreneur life. I'm hustling, grinding. Wow. Meanwhile, I just was broke and $25 was too much for me. And somebody could have spotted me, or we could have just stayed home or something, right? I just didn't want to admit to other people that I was struggling and wasn't having success, and was too afraid to ask for help. So I would just ask for more help. Always give value and try to help other people, and know that there are people who want to help you too.
I love it.
So that's what I would have done.
It's great. Well, thank you for all the work that you do. You talk about providing value. That's like your life's work. And so I want to thank you. You've been a huge inspiration to me. And, in this content creation world, there's a lot of competition. And I really want to thank you for jumping on with me today and giving me the coaching and the mentorship so far. I look forward to doing a lot more with you. So again, thank you so much for all that you do.
Cool, man. Thanks for having me. It's been a blast. And everybody watching, listening, go make your show. It will be the biggest growth factor that you see this year in your business.
Love it. Thank you so much.